Good morning, everyone. Thanks for joining us for your WAFB First Alert Weather Extra. I'm meteorologist Henry Blakes at the First Alert desk, and it's been rather gorgeous outside across the viewing area. The only thing is that it's going to be a bit unseasonably hot as temperatures continue to rise thanks to a strong ridge of high pressure. At the 11 o'clock hour, we are 85 degrees in Baton Rouge as well as New Roads. All around, we're looking at mid and eventually upper 80s continuing to impact us. And as the hours go by, it looks like our temperatures are going to continue to rise to near 90 degrees. Here's a foreshot across our viewing area. Baton Rouge, clear. Children's Hospital, got the all clear there. Just a few fair weather clouds at Newburgh, and looking at New Roads, we are looking very nice at Falls River. So all around, our conditions are looking decent for the moment. However, things are going to be changing in the long term. But for now, we've got a rather clear sky. Looking at visible satellite, just starting to see a few fair weather clouds start to pop up around the area. Not too much happening. A few additional clouds in northern parts of Louisiana, but we are under a ridge of high pressure, and that's going to keep the atmosphere rather stable. Any shower activity, that's along a stall front, which is impacting central and southern parts of the Sunshine State. Could see a stray thunder shower or two, kind of similar to what a few of us had over the past several days. But I'm thinking today is mostly going to be a relatively dry and sunny and hot day across the WAFB viewing area. Looking at a wider perspective of the lower 48 states, still looking at some rather strong storms impacting portions of North Dakota, pushing into Canada, possibly even parts of northern Minnesota. Have a low pressure disturbance associated with the stall front is going to bring them, unfortunately, the potential for some strong to severe storms to parts of the northern plains, even parts of the northern Rockies getting in on some wet weather. But one thing you notice, much of the lower 48 is on the dry side for the time being, and unseasonably hot as well. Here's your future temperatures in case you have travel plans. I really don't see you encountering any type of weather problems in at least the deep south. But remember, our temperature is going to be quickly rising. So notice as we get closer to the time to go home, our evening commute, we're likely going to be in those mid 90s in parts of the area. Lower 90s for Baton Rouge, Panama City 89. But notice as you go to Shreveport, likely looking at some mid to upper 90s possible in parts of northern Louisiana. But your Friday morning looking to be rather decent. Should be looking at a round of upper 60s and lower 70s as you head out the door for your Friday morning. But during the afternoon, look at that again. We've got another potential of mid 90s for southeast Louisiana and southwest Mississippi, and another round of mid to upper 90s likely for northern Louisiana. The first half of the weekend, I'm not expecting any kind of problems over the weekend except for the heat. I'll show you why I'm not overly concerned about the heat. The thing is, we're going to have another round of mid to upper 90s for the weekend. But on the other hand, we are going to be looking at our dew points. Dew points are only going to be in the 60s for today, so it's going to be a relatively dry heat, not the unbearable muggy heat that we're so used to. But watch what happens as we go into Friday and the weekend. About upper 60s for our dew points. That's still comfortable and decent, especially for Louisiana standards. But over the weekend, dew points are still in those, actually lower at some points. In the morning, in the lower 60s as usual, but then mid, maybe upper 60s for our dew points. That is comfortable weather as we go into the weekend. So that's good news if you have any outdoor plans for the weekend. You should be able to do them, the chores, wash the car. Looks like everything is going to be A-OK in our weather department across the WAFB viewing area. On the other hand, the tropics, starting to see a little more activity develop out there. We're going to have several waves that are pushing off of Africa into the Atlantic. One wave in particular that the National Hurricane Center is watching has at least a 30% chance of intensification or tropical development over the next 7 days as it pushes into the central Atlantic. I want to show you that on our infrared satellite at the moment. You know, there's lots of activity happening in Africa. So let's go ahead and zoom in tighter. We're not really looking at anything impressive, but this tropical wave trying to get its circulation and its act together. Once it does, it could develop into a tropical depression. That's why the National Hurricane Center is watching out for this, in addition for the fact that we are in the middle and heart of the peak of hurricane season. I know it's been unusually quiet, at least in the Atlantic. The Pacific is another story. But in Atlantic, we've kind of been rather lucky to not have any that many tropical systems. We've had roughly 6 already, but this could be our 7th one, but that's something we're going to be watching out for over the next 7 days. Not expecting much intensification, but as we go into the following week, that could be a different story. There's also another tropical wave well off to the west in the central Atlantic, producing some shower storms and gusty winds. Not very organized at all. So for now, not really expecting any type of impacts from this tropical wave across the Atlantic. But for the moment, our weather here in Louisiana and Southwest Mississippi looking pretty decent as we go into your weekend. Thanks so much for tuning in, everyone, and be sure to download our First Alert app and WAFB Plus to your mobile devices where you can watch our newscasts at any time. And for updates, Jeff Morrow will have the latest coming up at noon local time, and we'll also have additional updates tonight during WAFB 9 News 5, 6, and 10.